Hey guys, what's cracking? It's Krakenation here. I'm coming at you guys now with some breakdowns for the new competitive moves. We know what they do, guys. We're learning more and more about this Isle of Armor update. If you guys haven't checked out our previous videos, I broke down a lot of some instant analysis, instant reactions on the new moves in a couple of videos ago. And if you are playing the games themselves, Sword and Shield, Isle of Armor, and you want to get some pro tips on where you can find key Pokemon, key NPCs for certain like move tutors and the like, key people that give Armorite in the game. You can also find out about certain items, specifically things like TRs, certain evolution items, things like that, all of that nature, competitively viable items like Rocky Helmet. All of that stuff is contained in Entei's video, the previous video in the channel. Make sure to go and watch that video if you guys are wanting to know more about where to find these things in Isle of Armor. Check out the expert guide on this channel. But now we're going to start breaking down some moves, guys. So I'm really excited about these new moves. A lot of them are going to not only breathe life into some Pokemon that maybe weren't competitively super viable, but going to make really just shape new defining ways in the metagame. And the first one I'm going to be talking about today is Flip Turn, and the way Flip Turn is going to affect the competitive Pokemon. And we're also going to give you guys some examples of some Pokemon that learn these moves and some sets you can run, maybe some ideas, some creative directions you can go in to use these Pokemon in competitive format using these new moves that they now have access to. So guys, if you want to stay up to date with all of your Isle of Armor content, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below, guys. I won't pass you guys too much, but this channel has grown a lot over the past few months. It's been so incredible to see, and it would really mean a lot to me if you guys want to go ahead and join the Discord community to become a part of our growing competitive Pokemon community where we learn and grow and debate together. Go ahead and join the Discord down below and become a part of that community, guys. Click the like button. Let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so Flip Turn, what is it? Let's go ahead and break it down real quick on my boy Dragalge here. So Flip Turn, as you can see, by the way, I'm using Pokemon Showdown. I realize that we are not using the handheld games. Pokemon Showdown is good. I really recommend it for you guys. If you're looking to just experiment, I think it's the best place to do it because you can do it with obviously no EV training necessary. So you can go test certain things out, see what moves are compatible, mess with your EVs and natures and whatnot, your abilities and stuff like that, and hopefully figure out some stuff that will allow you to master the Pokemon before you have to spend a bunch of time breeding them in game. Also, there's a lot of really competitive play on Pokemon Showdown. It's where I play most of my competitive format games. So if you want to get just some chance to experiment, I definitely recommend you check it out on play.pokemonshowdown.com. Definitely recommend that. But alright, so Flip Turn, what is it? It's a 60 base power physical attack, but most importantly, the user switches out after damaging the target. That's right, guys. This is a pivot move like U-Turn and Volt Switch before it. It's an untauntable pivot move, so Baton Pass is a pivot move, Teleport is a pivot move, but those are fodder to things like Taunt, right? Now, the thing with Teleport is that's cool also in a different vein is that it has negative priority, so you guarantee a slow pivot. That's not the point here. Flip Turn is now a new pivot move in the game. A lot of water types are getting it, and it's going to make a lot of Pokemon instantly, substantially more viable. The first Pokemon I wanted to talk about that gets it here is Dragalge. We're going to go over a lot of Pokemon, guys, in no particular order, but I'm going to suggest some sets to you guys. So Assault Vest Dragalge is a set that I've always been a big fan of. It's got a great special defense stat, 123, so this makes it just really, really specially tanky. Really love especially defensive Assault Vest Dragalge. You can easily make this a choice specs breaker. As you know, if you manage to get an adaptability Dragalge on your team, that thing's going to be hitting hard as a truck. Not a lot of Pokemon want to switch into the Draco, means the thing's going to be firing off. The only things that really are going to switch in are Fairy types. You got the Sludge Wave. They're not going to want to switch into that either. And Steel types, they're not going to want to switch into a Focus Blast. Now, keep in mind, Focus Blast is not boosted by adaptability, but you're still going to be able to hit those Steel types incredibly hard. Those Ferrothorns that might want to come into your other two attacks. So now what's really cool about Flip Turn is because Dragalge is so powerful, such a great wall breaker, you're going to force a lot of switches. Your opponent's going to have to bring in that Steel type a lot of the time. So what do? Now you can grab more momentum on your side. You can click that Flip Turn and grab the momentum, making easy for switches. So I think a lot of wall breakers are going to really appreciate a Pokemon, a move like Flip Turn. So a lot of wall breakers, things like Dragalge, or a lot of Specs Mons that we're going to look at today will really appreciate moves like Flip Turn, but also a lot of Scarf Mons, faster Mons too, guys. It's just these pivot moves have made a massive impact in competitive play. So this definitely seems like it's going to be a natural fit. All right, so let's take a look at the next step here. We've got Milotic with the Flame Orb. Milotic with Flame Orb is obviously going to be a really intense, physically defensive Pokemon. You may wonder, why Flame Orb? What's the point of that? You'd be surprised if you don't realize that Marvel Scale, the ability Marvel Scale, boosts your defense by 1.5 times. So Flame Orb, Marvel Scale, that Flame Orb obviously being burned, not ideal, but it means you avoid getting toxic. So Milotic becomes that much harder to beat. That little bit of extra chip damage is mitigated by the fact that you are so physically bulky. So this Milotic with max defensive investment becomes insanely physically bulky when you factor in the Marvel Scale boost. Not to mention you've got recovery. Now you've got the flip turn, so the kind of the knock on Milotic in the past has often been that it's such a passive Pokemon when you run these defensive Milotic sets. But now what can you do in competitive play? You can click flip turn. So when your opponent brings in that wall breaker on the Milotic to beat this thing into oblivion, you know it's coming in, and you can grab momentum with flip turn, guys. That's going to be really huge and make Milotic very, very powerful in competitive format. I'm just licking my chops thinking about how good Milotic could be using this move right here. Let's move on to Primarina. A Pokemon that is definitely very, very viable now that it's been on the rise for sure recently. It's got amazing stats, great special attack stat, good versatility because it's got access to things like to recovery moves. I think it has a Calm Mind now is what it got this generation as well. So it's got some setup opportunities. Flip turn now, it's got pivot opportunities, guys. So in the same vein, a little bit as Dragalge, you can run a Scarf or a Spec set on Primarina, which is pretty awesome. So you can outspeed a lot of things if you're running that Scarf set, or you can run a Spec set and be really brutally wall breaking after that 126 special attack stat. And then flip turn, similar, like I was saying, similarly to Dragalge, flip turn is going to let your Primarina come in, really pressure out your opponent's team, and when they bring in that maybe that bulky grass type to try to take on your Primarina, flip turn on out of there, keep the momentum up, keep pressuring, get that chip damage. You are in the driver's seat of this battle. Moves like flip turn, like Volt Switch, like U-turn, we've seen time and time again, can dictate the momentum and the offensive pressure that you're able to exert in a battle. Gonna be huge for a Pokemon like this for sure. Guys, maybe one of the biggest beneficiaries of flip turn is Keldeo. Keldeo is now back in this generation, and in a world where hidden power has been removed, Keldeo is left clamoring for moves to fill its last couple spots with. Icy Wind is gonna be what you're gonna use, but then Secret Sword, Hydro Pump, maybe Scald if you want to go down that road, are going to be all very, very powerful. And now you've got the flip turn. So I've got a Specs Keldeo here. This thing might be as powerful a wall breaker as I've seen in this video yet. And so this thing's going to force a lot of switches. As we know, Keldeo has always been a fantastic OU level Pokemon. Fantastic in all formats, VGC as well, with things like Surf. It's going to be incredibly powerful. But now you've got the flip turn, guys. You can grab that momentum, force those switches, click the flip turn on something coming in. It's going to be very potentially effective, guys. All right, so let's move on. We got Blastoise. And maybe I want to talk about Mega Blastoise here. If you are in a format, maybe a Draft League format that allows Megas to still be used in competitive play, we're going to talk about a little bit about both. But flip turn is really cool. What I've got here is a bulky Blastoise set. This set just really serves as a bulky spinner. You can click some attacks with Scald and Ice Beam. You're not offensive deadweight because Blastoise does have a respectable special attack stat at 85. But you've got the Rapid Spin here to be able to clear those hazards away off the field. And finally, now you've got the flip turn. So what can you do? You can bring this bulky Blastoise in. You can take a hit, clear off hazards off the field, flip turn out of there when your opponent's next threat comes in. So if your opponent's got the fire type in the field, clicking a Flare Blitz, go ahead, feel free to bring in that Blastoise, and you're going to be able to click flip turn after you click Rapid Spin, and know you're not going to give up too much offensive pressure. That's going to be big. Next up, we've got Starmie. Starmie with Life Orb. In a similar vein, Starmie can be a Rapid Spinner. I think Starmie is insanely versatile, and just flip turn makes it have that much of a deeper tool bag to reach into. I've got a 3 attacks Life Orb Starmie here. Analytic is pretty cool on this set as well, but I think what's interesting is to consider is that Natural Cure gives you a ability to absorb status and then switch out. Flip turn switching you out. So you're going to have the chance to make this a really good status absorber. So let's say you're fearing your opponent's going to click Toxic. You bring that Starmie in for free. You click attacks, no worries. Then you flip turn on out of there. You're going to be able to cure it with your Natural Cure and no harm done in the long term. Now, Starmie does have a lot of different directions to go, guys. You could also run a bulkier Starmie set. You could run Rapid Spin, Recover. I think it does get a lot of coverage moves as well, like Power Gem we're seeing here. It gets Ice Bolt Beam is always going to be really good. It also got Expanding Force. We'll talk about some of those moves a little bit later. You got Stab and Psychic. You got a lot of options here. Flash Cannon, Grass Knot. So much coverage to run on this thing. Starmie is a great Pokemon. Honestly, criminally underrated in the past few years, I would say, in competitive play. Just a great Pokemon, and just gets substantially better because it's also fast. So what happens when your opponent brings in a wall that Starmie can't break through? You're clicking flip turn, you're getting out of there fast, your opponent has no chance to do anything to your Starmie because you're fast enough to get out of there, hightail it on out with the flip turn, bring in your wall so that Starmie doesn't have to take hits that it's not ready to take. That's going to be big, guys. Alright, so let's move on to the last couple Pokemon here. We've got Barracuda. Barracuda was a Pokemon that was very, very hyped very early on when it was first released. Look at these stats. You can easily understand why. Unfortunately, it's fallen a little short just because it's kind of lacks some power to be as effective as you want it to be. But Flip Turn is another tool that now Barracuda has. In a similar vein to Starmie, you can click the Flip Turn. It's a physical attacker, so Flip Turn is going to actually do a pretty substantial chunk of damage. So you can click the Flip Turn, get on out of there, and then grab some momentum. You're fast enough so that you're very, very frail Barracuda. As we can see, these stats, absolutely abysmal. You're not going to be worried about taking hits when you're this fast because you're going to be pivoting on out of there and be able to keep momentum up in the fight. I think Flip Turn is just now a natural choice for Pokemon like Barracuda. Sharpedo is an interesting one. I'm looking at Mega Sharpedo here. Flip Turn is an interesting move on Sharpedo because normally regular Sharpedo is speed boost, right? So even if you're running like a Life Orb Sharpedo, let's say, to try to be offensive, Flip Turn is kind of counterintuitive on Sharpedo, but it does get it, so I wanted to mention it. The problem with a lot of these Pokemon that use pivoting moves is they don't want to set up. If you notice, I haven't run setup moves on any of these Pokemon today because setting up means you want to stay in. You've invested this much effort into setting your Pokemon up. Why would you switch out now? So Flip Turn is kind of counterintuitive to something like Speed Boost, but definitely an option you still have on the table that you could use earlier in the match, and then when your Sharpedo is ready to go off, you go off. Finally, in a similar vein to Milotic, but a little different, we've got a different defensive Flip Turn user here. This one allowing you to click Wish, and Wish Pass end up give a slow Wish Pass, similarly to how we see Clefable used in today's metagame with Teleport. This set could work very similarly if you wanted a water type, bulky water type. You could Wish, Flip Turn on out of there, bring in your Pokemon, and just pass a massive 130 HP Wish to the next Pokemon to come in, fully heal that baby up, and that Pokemon is now ready to go. So guys, I think Vaporeon could be another Pokemon that could really make use of Flip Turn and be really, really effective with it. Well, that's all we've got for now. There are a few other Pokemon that get Flip Turn if we want to pull them up right now that we could definitely talk about it. But these are the main ones. Mew gets it, but Mew already got U-Turn. I think Kingdra's a big one that could definitely benefit from it. You could run like a Choice Specs Kingdra Swift Swim under Rain. And then if you ever were afraid that anything was coming in, you could click the Flip Turn. I think that's an option. Other than that, I don't think there were too many other Flip Turn users that were uber viable. Just in general. Golduck has never been the most competitively viable Pokemon, but if you want to make that work, you could. Wishiwashi is really viable as well with Flip Turn. It's now its go-to move for pivoting, but Wishiwashi already has U-Turn, so I don't think it makes a huge difference on that Pokemon. Basculin's kind of in a similar vein. It didn't already have U-Turn, actually, I believe. So Flip Turn does make this thing a little better, but it is overall was never the strongest Pokemon anyways. But just can't sleep on that. I want to make sure I mention a couple other honorable mentions here, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more of them, let me know what move you want to see next in the comment section below. I'm going to be making videos like this for all the new moves in this new expansion, guys. I'm really excited, and I'm hoping we can delve into some competitive Pokemon content and just learn about how these moves can be used. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to keep me making more, to say, go ahead and subscribe. Guys, thank you for stopping by. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Krakenation out.